Do you know who developed MetaMask that you use every single day? It actually was developed by ConsenSys, which was actually founded by Joseph Lubin. He is one of the co-founders of Ethereum. So in this video, you're gonna watch my conversation with Charles Ducey. So he's a managing director at ConsenSys, and he's a very interesting guy because he used to work for Hong Kong government as head of the fintech. So he was the one that basically oversees the fintech regulations and all that kind of stuff. But also he's a author and he's a managing director at ConsenSys, and he's working with various government to develop the CBDCs, and he's just doing so many things. So I'm sure that you're gonna enjoy watching this to learn about him and what the ConsenSys is up to. So please enjoy. Woo! Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today we have special guests, as you already saw on the title. We have Charles Ducey from ConsenSys. Thank you so much, sir, for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to join the Coin Club and start the conversation with you. Thank you for having me.
Oh yes, I'm super excited about it. First of all, I mean, there's so many elements, right? Because you as an individual is super interesting to me because we're gonna talk about it. But like you are working for like government, and now you're leading, like a ConsenSys across Asia, and just like so many interesting things leading like CBDC, I believe, in Hong Kong and other nations, right? So super interesting. But also I'm curious about ConsenSys because MetaMask I can see.
Yeah, exactly. We are celebrating 10 million users of MetaMask this month, so that's why we've got this kind of office uniform for the month.
Oh, that's an office uniform? Oh my.
Yeah, for celebration, it's a celebration. We are a fun group of people. So whenever there is a team milestones, and there is many teams at ConsenSys, and there is always things happening, but everyone is really proud of the work of the MetaMask team, and we are all celebrating together.
That's great. If you sell it, like selling, right? The t-shirts.
I think you can go on metamask.io and there is a swag shop. So you should have a look.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. If you're watching this video, if you want it, just go to the shop. Okay.
Absolutely.
But yeah, obviously you guys building MetaMask and many other backend like tools, right? So I also want to get into that. But anyway, so maybe to start the conversation, could you maybe introduce a little bit about your background and what you do right now?
Sure. So my name is Charles Ducey. I was born in France, but I live in Hong Kong for 15 years.
Oh.
So I used to be an entrepreneur. I started my company some years ago here in Hong Kong. I sold this company. We went IPO with the company who acquired me.
Ooh.
And later on, I wanted to have a little bit of a change of career. And I got the chance to join the Hong Kong government as head of fintech. That was back in 2016 when the fintech industry was very much nascent. So I had this privileged position to work with the government of Hong Kong, the regulators of Hong Kong, to shape together the ecosystem of fintech. And in this context, I was working on many different verticals of fintech, and one of them was blockchain. And I had this kind of sweet spot for blockchain. So from 2016 onwards, I've been helping many fintech companies and many blockchain companies to essentially understand Asia, understand how Hong Kong will be their kind of land pad, and how they could grow their audience in Asia. And I met ConsenSys at the time. I got some meetings with Joseph Lubin, the co-founder of Ethereum and founder of ConsenSys, to help the team at the time to set up their operations in Hong Kong. And I guess I got the pitch from Joe Lubin in a very sensible way, and I thought it was a unique opportunity. So wow. I started the Hong Kong office for ConsenSys back in 2019, and I now lead Asia Pacific. So ConsenSys is a company of about 700 people today. We are operated in multiple cities all over the world. We are very much distributed as an organization. And here in Asia Pacific, we have offices in Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, and Japan.
Japan too. In Tokyo?
In Tokyo, absolutely.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's cool. Oh my gosh, I'm so curious about. Okay, so first of all, like what was it like to be recruited by Joseph Rubin? By the way, Joseph Rubin, if you don't know, he's one of the co-founders of Ethereum and like an industry leaders of leader, right? What was the conversation like in the beginning?
It, yeah, so Joe Lubin is a very interesting character.
Mm,
He's very much in a mission. So he co-founded together with Vitalik Buterin and some others Ethereum.
mm-mm.
He then created ConsenSys, and what really kind of resonate with me at the time I had a conversation with Joe was the vision of the company and the way the company was executing on this vision.
Mm.
And when I joined ConsenSys, it was back in 2019. The conversation with Joe started a little bit earlier. And there was many companies of blockchain all around us. Some people were a little bit opportunistic. Some people were possibly some scammers. You know, the ecosystem of blockchain is blossoming,
Yeah.
and there is all kind of organizations and all kind of people. But what really was outstanding was the vision of ConsenSys, the momentum of ConsenSys, the fact that it was very much driven by engineers. So building long-term products, building products for the ecosystem to help others to join the Ethereum ecosystems, to help developers develop decentralized applications. So it was really a very good alignment of things, and a company vision, and again the execution, which was very diligent, and following a very clear methodology. And the market response to this effort from ConsenSys was very positive from the early days. So that's why I decided to say, okay, I really like blockchain, and if there is one company to join, is certainly ConsenSys. So I left the Hong Kong government, my job over there, and everything I was building, to kind of restart from zero here in the region. Not exactly from zero. ConsenSys was already a large organization, but I felt it was a very unique opportunity, and I have no regrets. It's fun every day. The team are expanding. The projects are coming from all over the place, and we have the chance to have a special place within the ecosystem, having products such as Infura or MetaMask, which are already having a very high level of adoption, and almost some kind of consumer brands for the people in crypto.
100%. I mean, I honestly don't know like anyone who don't have MetaMask in this industry, honestly. So it's very interesting. So okay, maybe let's kind of get into the this consensus part. Like maybe there's a people who know MetaMask, but like you have like as you mentioned, infra. There's like other products too, right? Maybe could you explain like what are the like solutions that you have, and to what extent you're building the tools for developers?
Sure. So maybe I will try to give you also and paint you a little bit a story of the company.
Oh yeah,
so the
please.
company
Yeah.
started in 2015, right more or less at the same time as the Ethereum protocol was launched, right? And at the time, the ecosystem of Ethereum was very young and very nascent. It was really the beginning of blockchain. After the first wave of blockchain adoption with Bitcoin, Ethereum came into the conversations of everyone, and it brought this EVM, Ethereum virtual machine, which is essentially bringing computing power to a decentralized network. And all these developers were very excited, but they needed some tools. So ConsenSys started to build tools for all this ecosystem, all these engineers, bringing them an Ethereum signer, an Ethereum wallet that is MetaMask. But there was also incubators for young startups at the time. So ConsenSys started really much as a product company for the developers from the beginning of the Ethereum ecosystem, and also a venture studio. And over the years, the company has grown tremendously, and also evolved into a product company focusing on decentralized protocols, specifically on Ethereum. So today we have products which are covering the full stack. So if you look at the experience for a blockchain developer, they will need to have a smart contract development software. So Truffle is the go-to software to develop your smart contracts. Then we help the developers to build their blockchains. So we have ConsenSys Quorum, which you can consume via Hyperledger Besu or Go Quorum to build your blockchain. If you are building a private blockchain, we have also on the top of this blockchain layer middleware, and then we have the application layer where you see products such as Codify, Codify payment, Codify asset to tokenize assets, Codify workflow to kind of organize business automation. So it's a little bit a full stack company, which is very unique in the ecosystem and very important for everyone. At any point in time, if you are evolving into the Ethereum ecosystem, you will interact with Infura, with MetaMask, with some of the products from the Codify suite. So it's really covering all the needs from the developers to the end users. But we are also very much involved into the development of the protocol. You know, Ethereum as a protocol is an open source software. So as a company, we are also a contributor together with the community to develop Ethereum 2, to develop EIP 1559. We have some people from ConsenSys working on this topic and making sure that we can keep growing the ecosystem and growing the protocol to the next iterations. Maybe we will speak later about Ethereum 2, but it's a new generation of Ethereum coming up early next year, which will be faster, more secure, and which will be migrating from proof of work to proof of stake. So multiple groups within ConsenSys and definitely passionate about Ethereum.
Oh, I can feel that passion for sure. It's like I like the in the background you have suite of product right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the main products of ConsenSys. MetaMask, we mentioned MetaMask. You've got the Codify suite, which I was mentioning earlier, ConsenSys Quorum and Infura. Infura is a little bit more technical, but Infura helps essentially the decentralized application developers to get a prime access to the Ethereum mainnet, but also to the Filecoin network, and also the layer 2 solutions such as Polygon and some other EVM compatible solutions. So that's a little bit the representation. Some people call us the Microsoft of blockchain. I'm not sure it's exactly accurate. We are definitely a little bit smaller for now, but it's definitely the vision of the company is to cover the full experience. Should you be a developer or a final user?
It's basically like a one-stop shop, right? Like if you go to if you go to like a ConsenSys, you have like an entire product, so anyone can do anything basically.
And for us as employees, it's really empowering, because if you need to have access to the best-in-class engineers when it comes to the protocol or to the application development, we have this critical size of 700 people spread all over the world with some of the best engineers in the world. So whenever there is a challenge coming our way, when we develop CBDCs or when we develop DeFi products, we always have access to these people which understand the full stack, and that's really energizing.
I can see that's so powerful. By the way, so I really want to kind of get into like what you do in a daily basis right now and what you're kind of working on. But before I forget, I want to touch on the book that you have on your side, the Blockong,
absolutely.
So you're managing director at the ConsenSys, but you're also author. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about book? What is it?
Absolutely. So Blockong is a book of 21 interviews about 21 entrepreneurs in blockchain in Hong Kong. The book came from a little frustration I got when I was at the Hong Kong government. I was able to connect with so many people, and at some point I talked to the marketing department of the Hong Kong government, and I told them we should document all the journey of all these entrepreneurs to help promoting Hong Kong, because there is some unique characters and there is some unique stories here. And at the time it was not possible for all kind of reasons. So when I decided to move from the Hong Kong government to ConsenSys, I decided to kind of give back to the Hong Kong ecosystem and write a book to document the great entrepreneurs we have here. So it's a fun read. It's not technical at all. It's 21 interviews during a breakfast. So I take breakfast all over the city with these different entrepreneurs, and you have the chance to have a very casual conversation around these 21 chapters with entrepreneurs such as Ben Delo from BitMEX, Sam Beckman-Fried from FTX. Some other people which used to be regulators and decided to switch career and move to crypto. A former Bloomberg TV anchor which decided to start a media dedicated to crypto. So I wanted to document how impactful was the industry on people, and how many different type of people will decide at some point to kind of switch and take a career decision and jump into the industry. So I really invite you to give it a read, to the book. The book is a non-for-profit book. So every time I sell a book, I give a training here to computer engineers in Hong Kong, they can upskill themselves and enter the ecosystem of blockchain. So it's a way for me to kind of help more people to join. And the book is available in English, but also in traditional Chinese for the readers here in Hong Kong, and it's available all over Amazon. So if for our listeners from Japan, they can go to Amazon Japan and find the Kindle version over there.
Okay, I'm gonna put the link in the description. So like, if you're interested, please go down and check the book. Okay.
Thank you.
So all right. So obviously you're you're author, but also you're working on this like suits of like a product, but you're based in Hong Kong. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now? Like what's your day like?
Sure. So my day life as director for APAC is to do a lot of coordination with the teams, the different offices, which we are all over the region. So as I mentioned, offices in Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, Japan. So we have teams over there which are working on projects with central banks, with big companies, with crypto startups. So a lot of coordinations with all these teams. And what keeps us busy here in APAC is a lot of central bank digital currencies projects. So it's fascinating to see that many people are thinking governments are not so much into blockchain, but the reality on the ground is every central bank is today working on CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and it's a very strong endorsement for the technology itself. So we are helping these central banks in Australia, in Thailand, here in Hong Kong, but also in Dubai and in China, and soon in Korea as well. We are helping them to build their blockchain infrastructure for CBDCs, and helping them to renovate finance, starting from the very beginning of the value chain in finance, that is money. So if you think about it, as soon as the central banks will start to issue currencies on blockchain, all the ecosystem of finance will have to reinvent itself, because money will change. The wrapper around money will be based on blockchain. So it will have a very deep impact on many industries, and it's a privilege for us to work on this.
Wow. Okay. So you're working with all these nations, but does that mean those governments are building CBDC based on Ethereum?
Yes, we work on Ethereum with those governments. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's
so for to be a little bit more technical without diving too much into the details. Ethereum as a technology, and when you look at the enterprise side of Ethereum, you have two options, and this optionality is a very strong value proposition for the world of enterprise. At ConsenSys, we can deploy private Ethereum networks. So it's an Ethereum network which is really where everything is under control, the privacy, the members of the network, and we can also connect later on this network to the Ethereum mainnet. So if you are already a user of the Ethereum mainnet, you need to know that from time to time, the enterprise world and sometimes central banks will also use Ethereum, but in a private setting. So it's exactly the same technology, but it's just the way you implement it. So we that's the way we are doing this. And Ethereum is interesting because it's one of these technology where there is a very big ecosystem. We have more than 350,000 developers on Ethereum, so a lot of resources and talents available. A lot of software, a lot of vendors which can support the ecosystem. And technically, Ethereum supports both tokens but also accounts. And if you think the way your bank and your financial life is organized, you have a bank account, but you also have money, like a banknote. So it's very much a similar type of architecture with the existing financial infrastructure, where you have an account and where you have tokens. So moving money, the existing financial infrastructure to Ethereum is way easier because we have these similarities in terms of overall architecture.
Wow. Okay. I'm super curious. If you have time, like let's dig into that later, especially talking about the future of Ethereum, like 2.0s and like what's the impact, what do you see in the future, what does adoption look like and stuff like that. But before that, like I'm kind of curious to get into the MetaMask because that's because like that's almost became like an infrastructure, right? For NFT, DeFi, I mean crypto in general, in my opinion, right? So maybe can you touch on like what's the inception of MetaMask, and maybe can you touch on like a recent surge in adoption, some metrics that you can maybe share? I know that you guys exploded, so.
Absolutely. MetaMask was created in 2016 within the ConsenSys ecosystem. And the first use was to really get a wallet for these developers as well as a signer. So when you want to sign a transactions between smart contracts, MetaMask has also have these capabilities. And over the years, the product has been growing, has been evolving, has been maturing. We launched a few months ago the mobile version of MetaMask, which make it really easy for everyone to manage their crypto and interact with Ethereum on the go from their mobile phone. And the growth we have been through is really amazing. I think we also at ConsenSys are really impressed how fast the ecosystem has grown and how fast MetaMask has grown as well. So we went from last year, as an example, in July, we had about 700,000 users. And since last year, we experimented 1,800% growth. So we are now celebrating 10 million users at MetaMask. There was virtually no advertising. It's just a perfect product market fit. It's what you want to achieve when you design a product, is to really find the features, design the experience, which is the experience your user have. And the best proof of this product market fit is when the people just download it in a very natural way and build around MetaMask for their mobile applications and decentralized applications using MetaMask. So we are very excited. It's only the beginning of the roadmap. There is in the coming months much more news around the MetaMask. So dear 10 million users of MetaMask, keep using it. You will see new functionalities coming, and we are confident they will be super useful and appreciated.
Oh man! So when the new feature comes, then maybe we can do another session so you can tell people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. So wow. Okay. So basically, you in a year, the user base became what, like a 20x, right? Basically.
Almost, yeah.
Almost 20x. So can you maybe touch on like why is that? Like what is a driver? Is that like an NFT, or is it like a DeFi, or is it something else that?
That's a very important question. So if you look at MetaMask today, about 46% of MetaMask users are coming from Asia.
Ooh, wow.
That's a very important data point because it shows you how this new internet, Web3, as we call it, the internet powered by blockchain, right? How this new internet is growing, which part of the world are grabbing this opportunity first, and how the balance is kind of moving around now. So 46% of the users of MetaMask coming from Asia. The first users were originally from DeFi because it's a big user base. We evaluate today about 3 million users of DeFi today in the world, and MetaMask is a prime gateway for all your DeFi activities, should it be on desktop or on mobile. And then we also benefited from the growth of NFTs. So the NFTs, are the new hot topic in our industry for the collectibles, for the video gaming. There is many usage of NFTs, and a lot of these NFTs eventually get to land into a MetaMask wallet because it's free. Because it's available on Android, it's available on iPhone as well. It's available on your computer, whatever computer you are using. So it's just very convenient, and you can have the same account kind of ported between your laptop and your mobile phone, and it covers your DeFi needs, it covers your NFT needs, and many more to come. So we really benefited from the growth of the ecosystem overall, and some of the kind of trends like DeFi or like NFT has given a massive boost to the growth of the product.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, that's crazy. Okay, so 46% is in Asia, right? And then what's the next? Like a Europe or like America or
next will be America and then Europe.
Europe. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Okay, so let's talk. So what is the like a growth rate in each region? Like do you see like a highest growth in Asia as well?
So highest growth in Asia, the key market in Asia are the Philippines. Indonesia, India, but also Japan, which is seeing some very fast growth as well. So it's interesting to see that some markets have already established digital ecosystems. Some others are a little bit starting their digital and their new internet. And it's interesting to see that some new markets like Indonesia or Philippines will kind of leapfrog and go directly to kind of crypto and digital asset infrastructure rather than going into some other type of solutions.
Especially those countries, probably like a NFT game, like a Axie Infinities and all that is super popular over there. So maybe that also helps. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's part of the growth as well.
What about like Africa? I'm curious.
So Africa, it's a good question. Africa, we've seen so far a lot of growth in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And then there is a kind of small growth happening in other countries, but Nigeria is a very big part of the community of MetaMask as well as South Africa. But we have to keep an eye on these numbers, to be honest with you, because it's moving so fast.
Yeah.
You see 20x in 1 year. So maybe you will see a first part of the growth in Asia and maybe some other part of the world catching up very quickly. It's very fascinating to see how all of this is moving.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's so crazy. Okay, so I understand like this, I mean, as ecosystem grows up, and then if you see like a DeFi lookup value is just crazy high and NFT is also booming, I think especially DeFi, right? Like DeFi is like now everybody's interested in it. So, but I'm also kind of curious, like how are you concerned with like a DeFi regulation? Because like that's like a direct conflict with traditional finance, especially in the US. Traditional finance has huge impact on politicians, right? Then all those politicians are interested in regulating DeFi, namely like for example like Uniswap, right? Like they're also like kind of very cautious about what to list and stuff like that. So then like I'm kind of curious, like how concerned are you on this regulation?
I think regulation will come.
Yeah.
In DeFi, they will come in different ways. What you want to capture is really that the regulators are looking at DeFi, but there is different type of regulators in every countries. Some regulators wants to look at protecting the end users, but they also want to look at how they can reinvent their own finance. And they all know that, for example, CBDCs are coming, and CBDCs are being built by central banks. So regulators are part of those conversations about central bank digital currencies. But they can see also in DeFi that there is a new type of finance which is also being experimented. So there is some of these DeFi protocols which might be bringing a risk, which the regulators wants to protect consumer with. But there is also a very positive look at this new decentralized finance, thinking it can be a little bit more coming into a framework, and it can begin to be some kind of public infrastructure. And I would not be surprised that some of these projects or some of the business models of DeFi will maybe have to evolve a little bit, but eventually could be happening to be a shared infrastructure within any economies with the blessing of regulators. So for this, DeFi will have to keep evolving, making sure it respects the core values of regulations. But I don't think it's regulations against DeFi. I think these two worlds are meeting at this moment in time, because DeFi has reached this critical size where it requires sometimes attention. But I think the conversations are positive, and there will be some aspect of DeFi which will have to be adjusted so it can fit within regulations. But I don't think it's a conflict. I think there will be trade-off on both sides, and decentralized finance will definitely be part of our life in the very near future within regulated kind of framework. And Yusuke, my prediction is within 18 months we will start to see regulated banks operating on blockchain.
Ooh, okay.
I would not be surprised to start to see new banks deciding that they will not rely on databases and old infrastructure, but deciding to rely on CBDCs, deciding to rely on stable coins, and having a big part of their operations, which will be actually automated by smart contracts, and relying on global networks such as Ethereum. You know the pace of innovation in our space. You know how many companies are investing, developing new products, and many of these companies are also developing product to fit with the regulation. It's not always to build something crazy. Some people are spending a lot of time, and sometimes with the support of ConsenSys, to build products which will be aligned with regulations. So I will not be surprised to see banks operating with the blessing of regulators on blockchain in the next 18 months.
Do you think which country do you think it's gonna implement like that? Is it gonna be like a US, like a Western? I don't know. European country.
Probably
US.
Probably US. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you try to start connecting the dots in terms of regulations, you start to see that there is some regulations which are kind of converging and will authorize certain type of new banks to have a major part of their infrastructure sitting on blockchain.
What do you think about like Hong Kong and China? I know you're very familiar with that situation.
So Hong Kong and China are part of the same country, but they operate with different systems, right? So whatever you will read about China does not always apply immediately to Hong Kong, and sometimes it will not apply at all. So we've seen a crackdown on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin mining in China. I think the news has been all around. And what is fascinating for us here in Hong Kong is we have regulations for crypto here. We have advertising for Bitcoin in the city. I was going out for lunch today, and I saw a Hong Kong tram. You know, we have the tram in Hong Kong,
right?
With advertising for Bitcoin companies. So the SFC, the Hong Kong regulator of Hong Kong, has given a license for regulated entities to deal with crypto. And in the book, Blockong, the book, I cover, and to be honest, a big part of the global crypto elite is actually based here in Hong Kong and based in Asia. If you look at the top 5 volumes of exchanges daily, out of the top 5, 3 of them are coming from Asia and or Hong Kong. So the regulation will probably change here. There is discussion about regulations to protect retail investors, but the ecosystem is already here, and people will stay because it's a vibrant part of the world and a vibrant city.
Oh, okay. It sounds like a very open environment. It's interesting. So especially like I really I agree with, especially going back to the regulation. Right? I agree with that. They're gonna find a way to actually create a framework. Especially like I'm kind of curious how, like, for example, Aave, right? Aave started the professional pool for like institutional investors, right? So I think those things are gonna be a great opportunity for obviously for MetaMask. But yeah, I mean those like interest is there. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see like what's gonna what the future look like. But from now, like I wanted to kind of ask you this question. Next question. So first of all, like you only focus on Ethereum, right? Like as a company.
So ConsenSys as a company is mainly working on Ethereum, but we work also on protocols around Ethereum.
Okay.
So we have these partnerships with Filecoin, which is not per se an Ethereum network, but which is very close and bring value to the Ethereum network. We are working with a lot of layer 2 solutions and sidechain.
Yeah.
Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum. We launched at ConsenSys our own sidechain and layer 2 for NFT called Palm. So we are multi-protocol, but with a very strong foundation on the Ethereum ecosystem.
Okay, so
which is the ecosystem where there is the most activity also today.
Yeah. So here's the question. So I started to see, for example, like a layer 1, Ethereum killer, right? Like Ethereum like competitors rising, right? For example, Solana, or Cardano is gonna coming up, and then maybe Polkadot in the future. So then the reason why a lot of people like started using those platforms is because Ethereum has like a higher gas fee to do like anything, like especially when it's like congested, right? So then like a lot of people users actually moving towards the other platform. Do you think that's like a as a threat to the Ethereum, and how does how do you see in the future like Ethereum is gonna gain back the user that actually already moved to Solana or other ecosystem?
I think it's not a zero-sum game. My personal opinion is there will be in this new Web3, it will be an internet with multiple blockchains.
Yeah.
I think competing with Ethereum today is fairly a very big challenge due to the audience of Ethereum, the ecosystem, its readiness, the number of developers. But there is probably space for other blockchain which will come for very specific applications and which will be optimized for this type of applications. But it's also an industry which is raising and growing. So I think the pie is growing for everyone. It's growing for Ethereum, it's growing for some others. Maybe what I want to share with you, Yusuke, is even though there is sometime in our industry a lot of noise, as you know, a lot of buzz and a lot of news and everything, when you are not sure, it's important to look at the data. And we have the chance in blockchain to have really accurate data. So if you look at the number of users on DeFi, 4 million users on DeFi on the Ethereum ecosystem, 160 million Ethereum addresses today. So it shows you a little bit like the head start of Ethereum. The transaction fees and the number of transactions on Ethereum. So you will see like there is really an ecosystem which is kind of feeding itself, helping and bringing value and bringing profits for the application built on the top of Ethereum without any sponsor, without any incentive. Many products like Uniswap or some new games are actually profitable businesses because they sit on Ethereum, because there is this ecosystem all around that. And when it comes to the price of the gas fees, I think it's a transition right now. Historically, when humankind is building technology and is building bandwidth, the humans will eat the new bandwidth almost immediately. If I'm old enough to remember the old internet with the old modems and slow kind of bandwidth, and as soon as you add a little bit more bandwidth,
Yeah.
more people were coming and more people were consuming. So it's a natural process, and it's showing you that there is a great market fit. So people are queuing on Ethereum because there is what they want on Ethereum. And you might have another technology which will be a little bit faster, but then if there is not the ecosystem, if there is not like a superb wallet, like MetaMask, if there is not like all the different software to build all your applications, you find yourself in a highway, but the highway is going to nowhere. and then you say, okay, maybe it's not the right way, and then you come back. So we see some project going in different chains sometimes, but we've seen also projects coming back to Ethereum because they realized there was an audience over there was an ecosystem. All the bits and pieces, they will not have to build it from scratch. It was already existing. So when I see people queuing at the restaurant, I know it's a good restaurant. And when I see my transactions pending, I know it's because I am in the right shop.
That's a good way. That's a good analogy. But I'm curious, like for example, in the future, maybe do you have any plans to like support other chains as well using MetaMask? For example, like Cardano, Polkadot, I don't know, other.
We are already supporting some side chains within the Ethereum ecosystem, but today it makes more sense to support the overall ecosystem, and our product stack is built for Ethereum and for the EVM. So we are very open, but I will say the ConsenSys foundations are really around the EVM, and this is where all the action is today.
I see. Cool. Maybe as we talk about like those like Ethereum, the performance in the future. What's your views on like a ETH 2.0, and what do you expect like to happen? Like,
I'm really super excited. I'm convinced about Ethereum for many years, but one thing which really makes me personally really confident in ETH2 coming up is the execution of the EIP 1559. I'm sure you have covered this kind of chapter in the Ethereum ecosystem of upgrading the protocol so that we could design a base for the fees and improve the experience for developers and users. And when you see how it has been implemented, it's kind of really a strong endorsement for the teams which are involved in the development of ETH2. So if you look at this, you have a very deep upgrade of Ethereum, which just happened before our eyes with EIP 1559. There is already 200,000 ETH which has been burned, and the deployment is working very well. But you have also the Beacon chain. So the Beacon chain is this new Ethereum 2 chain, which already exists, but which have no smart contracts yet on top of it. And this Ethereum blockchain is locking, if I remember well, about 5 million ETH today. There is multiple clients to help this new chain for Ethereum to run. And for the past 10 months now, this Ethereum sidechain, which we call the Beacon chain, is working very well. It has a little bit of adjustment here and there, but really nothing critical. So what's going to happen early next year will be what we call the merge. The merge between the Ethereum 1, which is a proof of work Ethereum with miners, and merging into the proof of stake blockchain, which is Ethereum 2. So you will have two layers, one layer for the execution and one layer for the consensus. So I'm very confident of the execution. I can see the brightest mind in the space working on this. And when you see what they have delivered already, it makes me very, very comfortable. Just a little bit impatient, I guess. But we all are, and Q1 next year is coming soon.
Oh, Q1 next year! I can't wait for that. That's gonna be exciting. I mean,
but Yusuke, maybe the best execution of this migration will be something we will not even realize. The same way EIP 1559 will be very smooth. So it's a little bit like upgrading your computer. You just have to push the button. Do you want the upgrade? Yes. and then suddenly your computer is faster, your computer have new applications, and I think it's really the way people are building this migration to ETH2. And I would not be surprised if people, or some people, don't even realize they have moved to a new version of Ethereum, which is faster, more secure, and beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, like, for example, like if I think about like this future mass adoption. I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, the company is gonna start using in blockchain. Then what are the options, right? So in my thought is, I don't think they're gonna jump into like, I don't know, like Solana from the beginning. Maybe like Ethereum because it's just well known, right? And the reason why I thought is that because there's so many big companies actually supporting consensus, right? You've been already working with like JP Morgan and other companies, right? Maybe can you explain like how you interact with those big companies and what they're interested in?
Sure.
Yeah.
So ConsenSys has delivered about 300 projects with large organizations such as banks and other large groups globally. And what these enterprises need is quality software. That's number one. They need a quality product on the top of the software, which are solving a real problem and their problem, not your problem or a problem which you are inventing. And they need enterprise services around their new blockchain implications. So we received investment at ConsenSys last year from JP Morgan, from UBS, from MakerDAO, which you may be familiar as well. Protocol Labs, the company behind Filecoin, has also invested in ConsenSys. So it shows a very strong endorsement for the company, for the product, for the engineers working with us. And these companies are not so much into the technology per se, but they want to find new markets where there is or existing demands, existing infrastructure which is there, so they can develop their new businesses. So it's not so much about finding the new and latest technology feature, but really reinventing their businesses. So we build consortiums, so groups of companies building their own private blockchain business networks. We are helping a lot of people connecting to the mainnet. So it's very, very much enterprise. And for mass adoptions, I think it's going to come from the enterprise. If you are running today a video game company and you have 50 million users, you will want to have like really strong ecosystem around you. You will need to have a lot of companies and vendors to support you. And that's what Ethereum is offering today. And ConsenSys is one of the prime partner for these companies which wants to issue massive amount of NFTs, these companies which wants to integrate DeFi into their activities. So these people, when they go and shop for new technology, they want to be in good company and reliable company. That's why a rich ecosystem and a mature ecosystem and companies like ConsenSys are very critical.
Yeah. Well, okay. Wow, that's really exciting. By the way, I realize we only have like 5 minutes left. I know you're busy, and okay. So to kind of closing this conversation, but maybe can you touch on the roadmaps for the consensus this year? Especially, I'm curious about MetaMask. You mentioned there's gonna be a lot of updates, but maybe can you tease us a little bit about what's gonna come?
Sure. So there is multiple groups within ConsenSys. We have a lot of news coming on Ethereum 2. ConsenSys is developing Ethereum 2 with the community, but we are also developing our own Ethereum 2 client, which is called Teku. So Teku will be in prime time early next year. Ooh. It's already a great product, but it's going to be used by many more people. At Infura, there is a lot of additional connectivity within Infura. Infura is some kind of connector to the Ethereum mainnet. MetaMask is coming with new updates. I cannot tell you too much. One of the updates I can share with you is MetaMask will not be used only by end users anymore. We are launching also MetaMask Institutional. So MetaMask Institutional is dedicated to the crypto fund managers, such as the hedge funds or the funds in general. And it's a special version of MetaMask, which really fits with the needs of funds when they want to access DeFi or when they want to access different Ethereum infrastructure. So essentially, it's a special MetaMask version for professionals, which you can connect directly to your professional custodian. You can define some trading rules. You can make sure everything remains compliant. You can manage the risk of trading on DeFi better. You got all the reporting for your fund management. So MetaMask Institutionals is a very exciting part of the roadmap. And then within Codify, you remember Codify is something similar to Microsoft Office. You've got different sub-products within the Codify family. So Codify Payment is growing super fast, as well as Codify Asset. So there is multiple things happening. The best way is to join us on the ConsenSys newsletter. We are releasing all our news over there. And please also follow Coin Club Japan. Always one of the best places to get the news on the ecosystem. And I know you follow the ConsenSys software very closely.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm super excited about all those institutional adoptions. Because
this is a real thing. You can read about it everywhere, but we can tell you firsthand. We have this early adopter program with a long waiting list of people who wants to start using Codify and using MetaMask. This is a real thing, and it will have a strong impact on the ecosystem. If you look at the early days of Ethereum, which was mainly users and developers, we have now retail users coming for gaming, coming for NFTs. We have institutions, we have NFTs. So all of these contribute to more growth, more stability. So these are really strong and tangible signals that we are on the right track.
Oh my goodness. So it sounds like you're just laying down the highway for the big players to just, take off. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear about the upgrade and okay, so we sadly, time flies like crazy, so fast, but every single day, it's just like this, especially a company like you and an interesting person like you have like so much information. I honestly wanted to actually talk about CBDC and the future of CBDC. What's the future of like stablecoin? And I think a lot of people are interested in that, so if you have time,
maybe you can edit the video and let me tell you what I see coming in CBDCs, and you can edit and put things.
I mean, you can go ahead now. Yeah.
So CBDCs are essentially central bank digital currencies. It's money provided to you via blockchain by your government, by your central banks. And what you see in parallel to CBDCs, you see coming stable coins. So stable coins are Hong Kong dollar, US dollar, maybe Japanese yen as well, which are issued as a token by private entities. So this could be a regulated bank which will decide with the approval of the regulators to say, I will distribute some of this currency via blockchain with my brand on it. So you will see some competition between stable coins and CBDCs. And today we've got about 100 billion of stable coins in the crypto markets. CBDCs will stay in the normal economy, but my prediction is within the first part of 2022, the volume of CBDCs will overcome the volume of stablecoin. And this will be very interesting to see. And people will have to choose. Do you want the money issued by your government, or do you want the same currency issued by a bank, for example, or maybe a tech company later on? So I think our relationship and our choice of monies will change drastically, and it will be very interesting to see what the market says and where the trust is going eventually.
What's your guess? Which do you think people's going to choose?
It will depend on the context. So maybe if you are in the capital market, if you can get a US dollar from an investment bank, and this investment bank is offering you instant global transfer and some special services if you use their money, maybe you're going to use this money. Maybe if you are in some countries and there is like a big telecom company having their own dollar or their own national currencies, and this dollar gives you discount, this dollar gives you just additional services, you might decide that I'm going to use the the central bank money for certain use, and maybe I'm going to use private money or stablecoin for some other use because this currency is better.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
But they will be backed one-to-one, so you should not have any risk. It's just going to you will have the choice to choose a brand and to choose a network where this money is moving.
Also, like a surveillance of like risk and all that kind of stuff too, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your time today. I know you're busy. I ran out of time. I apologize for that. But if you're always welcome to the channel, and then please come back when you have like a new update. And I'm excited to talk about more about the product, but also future of the CBDC and stablecoin next time. So
Yusuke, thank you very much. Quality conversation, quality time here. See you soon on YouTube again.
yeah, see you soon. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.